Video today, ISO 22301, Business Continuity. We will look at how having a business continuity management system could save an organization while going through disruptive events. I think with what's happening at the moment, it's quite befitting to have such a video just to help businesses to deal with the situation, with the current pandemic situation a bit better. Before we go into our video, please remember that videos are created for educational purposes only. Our previous video, we looked at business continuity and what it means for an organization to have a business continuity plan in place. We considered the various aspects of it and also how it can help an organization survive a disaster. And in this week's video, we will be looking at the ISO 22301 certification, which provides an organization help on or structure on how to be prepared in order to deal with a disaster, be it of a human or natural nature. It will require the organization to have a business continuity management system in place, and this system can be applied to an organization of any size, be it a 10-person business to a business with over 1,000 employees. So the concept would be the same. It's just how it's applied and how it's used would be different. So having a business continuity management system in place, or BCMS for short, is basically a management system which involves having processes and procedures in place for the continuity of a business as activities in the events of an emergency or disaster, internal or external. The aim of a framework is to provide the organization with the ability to effectively respond to such a threat. So the BCMS required by the ISO 22301 certification will mainly consider the following points: the purpose and the scope. The plan here must detail the reason as to why it has been developed and how it can fulfill its objective. The scope of a plan should cover all the main aspects of a business, if not all of it. And please remember that the purpose of a plan should be clearly defined in such a way that it can be easily invoked by any member of management. The person writing the plan might not be the same person to invoke the plan. We'll look at role, responsibilities, and users. As mentioned in the above point, the person drafting the plan might not be the same person invoking it. This might be the case for a small organization, but for medium or large organization, it would be probably someone else who would be invoking the plan. And the plan should therefore have clearly defined roles. For example, who's responsible to manage the disruptive events, who's responsible for managing the employees in the event where they have to work from remotely from a different location or be working from home, dealing with media, etc. It's important to also note that the contact details of key members of staff and senior management should be listed in the plan. This would normally be contained in one of the annexes of a plan. The next point is documentation. In order to effectively invoke the plan, any other documents referred to within the plan should be clearly defined and referenced, which are, for example, a business continuity policy, a business continuity process, a business continuity log, an impact analysis, etc. And termination and lesson learned. The plan should mention as to when it will be terminated and the business can go back to carrying its activities as usual. A lesson learned exercise should also be carried out in case of a similar occurrence. This will give your organization valuable information to deal with such an event again if it reoccurs, and eliminate weaknesses, which can save time and money. This will help to monitor the effectiveness also of a business continuity management system. Now we're going to look at how to develop a business continuity management system, BCMS. Before we look into this, let's just briefly understand what is a disruptive event. I would describe it as an event such as it could be natural disaster, power outage, a breach of information security as well, etc., where the normal day-to-day activities will be interrupted and it will require invoking the business continuity plan. The ISO 22301 certificate ensures that an organization can therefore respond and continue the operations. It is the best way to minimize the impact of a disruption. And just to briefly touch on the benefit of having BCMS, having the ISO 22301 certificate or a similar system in place means that the organization has processes in place to effectively reduce disaster-related costs, to continually meet regulatory compliance, and also to be able to provide its services to customers. Even though it will be disrupted, it can still provide over 75% of a level of service to its customers. This is very, very important, especially in an industry in a competitive industry. So let's look at what to include in the business continuity management system when we develop one. So gap analysis. This can be carried out in order to save time and money. An organization looking to be ISO 22301 certified or just developing a BCMS will have to have some sort of business continuity plan in place, or might already have one in place. It can either be as part of an existing information security framework, for example, the ISO 27001 requires a business to have one in place. And I know a lot of security frameworks do, or it could have been created as part of a previous disaster which may never have been reviewed. So that's one of the main reasons to carry out a gap analysis, is just to bring to see where the company is at with regards to having a business continuity plan, and whether this has to be updated or it can still be used, can still be applied. The next area would be areas of improvement. Following a gap analysis exercise, and any improvement will be identified and the necessary changes will be made to the BCMS. The areas to improve on have to be realistic and have to be able to be improved on continuously. This will also facilitate the implementation of a BCMS. So you will note that all of these steps are interlinked, and you will need to have all of the steps being able to develop an effective BCMS. The next one would be a disaster recovery plan. It's basically a disaster recovery plan would help an organization to plan and restore its business activities following a disruptive event. It will help to transition to the usual business process. Incident management. A log will be maintained containing information regarding the disruptive events and also how it has been managed. A lesson learned exercise will be carried out with key employees and senior management. They would review as to how if a plan worked for the company or if there has been any changes to be made. It would just help the organization to better prepare for a similar event should it happen in the future. An example which I remember while working for one of the companies before is where they had officers outside the UK, and there was a disruptive event where employees in the local office couldn't come to the office, so they had to work from home. And it was, I think it was, um, there was a hurricane or something along those lines, bad weather, where we had to work from home. And the the business continuity plan was invoked, and it gave guidelines as to how to carry on working from home and what are the steps for the company to take. So we might think we would never use a plan, but you'd be surprised as to what how the plan can come in useful. And should they even happen, you don't have to have emergency meeting to be able to decide on what's the next step, but it would have already been planned, and all but senior management will have to do is invoke the plan and look at the steps mentioned normally in the annex of the plan. So this brings us to the end of our video. In our next video, we'll be looking at the various legislations in place regarding um, data, confidential data, and also personal information security. This will be looked at mostly from a UK point of view, but we'll also consider European laws or international laws when it comes to data. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video and found it helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.